the amount of folks that signed up to join this meeting today. It's more than we usually have, so we are excited to have so many people on. I was excited to see that there's looks like a couple new district staffers going to be joining us for the first time. So welcome to the Soil and Water Conservation District world, and thanks for popping in to see what the marketing committee is all about. As Kendall mentioned, please put your name in the chat. That's just for the recording of the meeting minutes, since there are so many folks on board today. Let's see, how many folks do we have? About 18. Maybe we'll just give it another minute or two, because I know we did have about 30 folks registered. Just give it another couple minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. We're here.
Yeah, I'd rather you get that one. Yeah, that's the oldest.
Lisa, it's slowed down a little bit, but I'll be glad to watch the weight room and catch folks up.
Okay. Okay, great. We'll go ahead and jump in. I'm going to just put up the meeting minutes from our March 3rd meeting. These were sent out with the agenda. Hopefully you've all had a chance to take a peek at them and look at and see if there's anything we didn't capture or any edits that were needed. Did anybody have any suggested edits they want to submit to us? All right, hearing none, we'll keep rolling along. Anything else anyone wants to add to our agenda today? Any like discussion items outside of, we're going to have a marketing roundtable sort of at the end of the conversation today, but was there anything else anybody wanted to talk about? All right, we'll keep rolling along. The chair transition update, for those of you that joined us at the March meeting, I announced that I will be leaving the Soil and Water District world in early July. And we are looking for a volunteer to take over the chair position of this committee. That's changed a little bit. I will be staying on till the end of December in the Soil and District world, although I will still be leaving as chair of the marketing committee in August or September of this year. So while I'll still be around to help guide the new chair, we are looking for someone to take over this position. Kendall and I have been kind of brainstorming on anyone that might be interested, and we had put the word out last time at our other meeting asking for any volunteers. We haven't gotten anybody stepping up to the plate yet, but I just want to put the request out there again to anybody who might even be a little interested in taking over this position. I'm happy to talk with anybody offline if you've got questions or you're just not sure if you'd be a right fit for it. I'm happy to chat with you or get on the phone and talk to you more about it. If you're even considering it, I'd encourage you to reach out to myself or to Kendall to find out a little bit more. I'll tell you from a personal standpoint, chairing this committee has been just a really valuable learning experience for me. It's really helped me, learn how to facilitate Zoom meetings and work with a group of folks who I normally wouldn't get to, connect with on a quarterly basis. So that's been really rewarding for me. I'll say that you don't have to be a marketing and outreach guru. You don't have to be a Canva wizard. I think if you have a genuine interest in promoting the work of soil and water districts, and you like working with a really friendly group of folks who are passionate about this type of work as well, I think you might be a really good fit. So again, I would just encourage anyone, if you're even considering it, to reach out to myself or to Kendall to learn a little bit more about what goes into chairing this committee. And like I said before, I will be still with Thomas Jefferson Soil and Water, so I am available till the end of the year to help transition and kind of train the next person into taking over this position. So I will put my TJ email in the chat in case there's anybody who doesn't have it already. So if you want to just connect with me after this meeting and reach out and talk more, you'll have that. All right. Kendall, is there anything you want to add to that chair transition update?
Lisa, I think you said it really well. I'm eager and excited to find someone to fill your shoes and happy to help support. And if we can time it so that potentially you can help with that transition, you said it great. And I would love to reiterate that fact that our staff is willing to help support and, run these committees with the committee chair, but look to you for direction and help with the program coordination too. And you don't have to be in marketing. We can find the resources, but you're really one to help gauge and get to know your fellow districts and where the needs are.
Yeah,
Well said,
absolutely.
Lisa.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kendall. Moving right along on our agenda, a training update. I was going to give this, but Maura has, I think, a little bit more information on this. So I'm just going to pass the microphone to Maura to give us a little bit update on upcoming training opportunities.
Sure. So in working with the Employees Association, they would love to have a marketing training at Graves Mountain this August. I believe it's August 23rd through 25th, if I'm remembering correctly, the annual Graves training that they hold. So I know this group had talked about doing a Canva training. And if folks on the line think that's a good idea, that's what I was thinking we would move forward with. I'm more than happy to take the lead on that Canva training, but I know there's others who probably have better perspectives on district's use of Canva that I would love for folks on this call to chime in and, suggest what might be helpful for you to have covered at a Canva training, what that could look like. I know we had talked kind of about people bringing their computers and doing something live together. So I would have a screen shared Canva pulled up, but then folks who are attending the training could be doing it along with me or making something that's relevant to them. Anyone on the call have thumbs up, thumbs down, think that's, valuable for folks?
Thanks, Maura. I personally think having laptops in front of people to work through Canva would be really awesome. I think that's a great idea because, going to a training like that and then coming back 2 days later to sit down at Canva's platform and, oh shoot, where was that button Maura talked about, or where was that? So I think that's a great idea. Do we know if the Wi-Fi at Graves could support like multiple users? Is there any issue with that?
So it was pretty good last year. I guess I
Okay.
could check on that, but that's a good thought. And we also, at the last marketing committee meeting, we covered the Canva Teams, which I haven't put
Yeah.
out all district yet. I meant to do that, but I still need to kind of promote that as an opportunity for everyone, which I'll get to. But that's something we could talk about too, because it's a little bit confusing how to join it. So if we could get people to join while at the training, that would be super convenient so they can troubleshoot with me or whoever.
Yeah, that's a great
that could
idea. I
be
know
good.
you and I have both struggled with trying to join the Canva team.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. And if you have more than one team on your Canva, it gets even more confusing. So that could be good to troubleshoot live. But I would love if I don't see, I think it's going to be on Wednesday at some point. I have to look and see when the slot would be, but district perspective would be super helpful because I have, my outreach that I do at the association. It's not quite the same as what you all do. So for those who are going to attend Graves and might attend that committee meeting, I would love for you to come and bring ideas, and maybe I'll reach out to some people ahead of time about some templates. I know Lisa shared some templates already about some things that districts could use. That would be a good perspective for someone else to bring as well.
Yeah.
Hey,
Does
Lisa,
anyone?
This
Yeah.
is Shannon.
Hey,
I know
Shannon.
that Graves updated their internet, so I wouldn't see where that would be an issue at all.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, that's awesome. That's really great to hear.
And I guess I think they're doing the virtual and in-person option, I think, again. So that's easily something people could join virtually and engage with. So that could be good.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, does anyone have any suggestions for Maura right now on a kind of a Canva specific type of training you'd like to see at Graves?
You also can reach out after and let me know.
Yeah.
I think that it would be really interesting to have some conversations about accessibility when you're creating social media or website content. I know we've been working really hard to make sure that all of our work meets accessibility guidelines. But, if there's someone who's colorblind, for example, it changes what you'd be able to see. If something needs to be printed in black and white versus color, making sure certain fonts are readable for those who might have dyslexia or other learning disabilities. I think that kind of covering some of that could be really helpful for our outreach.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea, Ashley. Thank you. Maura, I know a few years ago when I gave a Canva training at the annual meeting, I did a project. I can't remember if folks brought their laptops or not. Maybe a couple people did, and they kind of worked along with me. But I did a project. I did the snapshot postcard, so like the end of the year, like stats for a district, and I did it pretty much start to finish, like live on the screen, and they got to follow along and like do the little, watch me put it all together. And yeah, I think that was, I would hope that was helpful to kind of see it from, start to finish like that.
It's great.
All right, well, thank you, Maura. And yeah, if anybody has any additional ideas from Maura on specific things you want to see at that Canva training, please reach out to her. This Graves comes around once a year, so let's get some trainings that we all really want out of it. I think it'll be a really fantastic opportunity. And thank you, Maura, for offering to lead that for us.
Sure.
I have a question. I missed the date of that training. That's my first question. And could I attend? That's my second question.
I believe you could attend. Yeah. So it's a training for our Employees Association, but others are welcome as well. Let me make sure I've got the
August
right dates.
23rd.
Okay. So Tuesday, August 23rd through Thursday, August 25th.
And you were saying that you think that the marketing training would be on the Wednesday, right?
I think so.
Potentially the
Maybe.
slot.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, I scratched that. Tuesday afternoon would be
Okay.
the marketing session.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Anything else on the training topic before we move along? All right. Next on the agenda is recruiting with video service, and we have Kendall's name next to this, but I'm going to chime in some of it too. Some of you were likely present for the video creators training series and website training that we've done last year with Chuck Moran of Bald Guy Studios. Some of you were, I'm sure maybe many of you were on that training. For those who weren't, Chuck Moran is a Charlottesville local website developer and trainer of all things kind of video and website developments and social media stuff. Really great guy, excellent teacher, excellent, training facilitator. He has been in conversations with Kendall and a little bit with myself about a new service that he is offering. It's basically what I would say a continuation of his video creators workshop training that he did last year. So you all might remember, I think that was a 3-part series, 2 or 3-part series. He's created an additional service where small businesses, organizations can pay for essentially kind of one-on-one coaching and mentoring with creating videos and kind of taking your video creation to the next level. My experience with it is a few weeks ago, Chuck asked me as someone who went through his training to speak to some of his students during a Zoom call and just talk about my experience working with Chuck, learning from Chuck, how our district's videos have changed since taking his course. So, where we were at initially versus after taking his training series, how have our videos changed for the better and, what was helpful and things like that. Kendall's been speaking with him and he has offered the association, I believe it's 10 slots, Kendall, correct? 10 free slots to any district employee who would like to be a part of this video creating like service and workshop series that he's putting on. It sounds like it's a really, really fantastic opportunity. So we wanted to put this out there to this group. Like I said, Kendall has 10 slots available. It's like first come, first serve to folks who can commit to going through the series and doing it. Kendall, do you want to chime in with anything I missed there?
You summarized it well. I'm glad we got to connect before the meeting today on it. Chuck has reached out. Lisa said it really great in terms of it is a continuation. It was a 3-part video creation series we did last spring, in addition to the website development ones we did in the fall. But he learned a lot from our group in terms of video creation and has expanded his services and doing a lot more one-on-one to ensure your videos. He felt like even from our group, we tried a little bit of feedback and comment, but folks were still missing the take a look at my video and help me figure out exactly how to make what I need. What can I get out of it? So this takes that much further, like Lisa said, from what you learned in our 3-part series to really honing in and applying it to your own district video needs. I am more than happy to say 10 first come, first serve. If this is something that you're interested in and have the time commitment and interest, especially as we head into a new fiscal year, and we're going to start talking about shortly of how do you get outreach and different means of, if video might need one of them to share your cost share dollars. So if there's interest, by all means, let me know. If there are other ways we should be thinking about it, Chuck had originally said, take this to your marketing committee and see what their thoughts are. Are they interested in being my first people to join? Or do you have a different suggestion on how to get districts maybe interested in participating? So it's fully wide open and willing to hear any feedback. Yell at me if you want to join or if you think we should take a different approach for giving these seats away.
Kendall, do you know what kind of time commitment the course would be? Did you have any sense of that?
That's a great question. From my understanding, also, some of it is self-paced. So,
Okay.
right, it's not going to be like you need to be on a class every Wednesday at this time. You can tag in and meet your own work demand. And he's had a number of folks who he said have just not been able to, in the 3-week span, been a part of it, but then have plugged back in when they really had work needs to get help on a video. So I think it is manageable. And he thought that might be a reason why some of our district folks might be interested, because it wasn't something like for 2 months, the Thursday afternoon, you need to be signed in for it. But you log into his online community and you self-pace your work and you get coach feedback when you need it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll say it's kind of a neat concept. Chuck has created this, like Kendall said, like a community. It's a platform that once you join this training, you become a member of this little platform he's put together, and you can, have kind of chat sessions with other attendees. You can share things on the platform with other attendees and get feedback from, I imagine, other students as well as Chuck and other trainers. So it's a really interesting concept. It's not just like some video trainings and then you're off on your own. He's really trying to build a little community of learners and collaboration and feedback and mentorship and things like that. So it's I think a pretty unique offer that's out there. And I really hope some folks will take advantage of it. Like I said, Chuck has been really great for our district. He completely rebuilt our website and made it 10 million times better than it ever was. And then we've also used him and leaned on him for, training for videos. And he's helping us set up MailChimp for our online newsletters and things. So he's just a wealth of information, and he's just a really nice guy to work with. So I hope some folks will take advantage of the offer that the association and Chuck are putting out there.
So I've got Lissy's name down.
Awesome.
She's the only one that's dropped something into the chat or come off mute for me. So speak up or shoot me an email, but we'd love to at least take advantage of a couple district folks. I mean, right, if it might not be all 10 right away, at least making sure that we've created members in the community that also understand who districts are, so that, right, Lissy's not the only one necessarily putting in videos for review and getting coaching on conservation topics.
Yeah.
So Lissy, I will connect you with Chuck and get you started in that process. And has Chuck's info been sent out, or can we find it on the website? So no, Chuck's info has not been sent out. This is one that he told me about, gosh, end of last week, early that it's Wednesday. It might have been Monday, Friday when we talked about this offer. So I have not shared it all district, and he even knew the marketing committee was coming up, having talked with Lisa and knowing her involvement, and suggested we start here, thinking that some members of the marketing committee might be more committed to really engaging in this opportunity first. So we started right here. Wendy, if you are, is that Wendy? Yes. Wendy, if you're interested, I'll make sure to connect you to and with Chuck and add you to the, got it.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if anyone's just curious about Chuck's business, if you just Google Bald Guy Studios, you'll go to his website if you just want to take a peek at some of the things he offers and what the type of work that he does, if you're curious at all.
Thank you, Lisa. I've got Lindy, Lissy, and Wendy. I will connect you all with Chuck, and we'll at least use a few of those seats to get started and spread the word. If there's somebody not on today's committee that you think a district might benefit from, just connect with me and I'll look to getting some of those seats assigned.
Awesome. Thanks, Kendall. And thanks for your ongoing relationship with Chuck. It's really exciting to see how just a sort of a conversation with him a couple of years back about creating videos with our district has turned into some really awesome training opportunities for everybody. So
He's been a great resource.
yeah, he really is. And I know he's excited to work with Soil and Water District folks. He's really passionate about what we do, and he's really excited to see what we can come up with and what we'll do in the future. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Any questions on the video service offer out there before we move along? All right. Reach out to Kendall if you have any questions or you want to be a part of that. Moving along, Blair, are you with us on the call?
Hey, yes, I'm here.
Hey, Blair. Thank you. Blair's going to go over the DCR outreach grant deliverable. That is a new item for FY23. We've had a number of people responded during the registration for the training that they wanted to know more about what this grant deliverable means for districts, what we'll all need to be focusing on in order to meet that grant deliverable. So Blair was kind enough to be able to jump on the call and give us a little summary of what we need to be looking to do. So thanks Blair. And
yeah, always happy to chime in, always happy to hear what's going on with the marketing committee, and lots of good stuff going on. So it's always good to hear, but happy to speak to this new grant deliverable. So we, as you guys know, we don't have formally approved grants for districts yet because the state delaying the state budget. So I guess technically this particular new grant deliverable is not formally in place yet, but it has been reviewed by the state board and we'll go through just fine. We did have a lot of discussions with the associations, I guess the employee associations DEI committee, when for suggestions and kind of discussions over a potential grant deliverable, because we're trying to market and outreach our programs and making sure that we're just reaching as many people as possible. So we've devised these two new grant deliverables in light of, wanting to make sure that we're reaching all the communities out there, but also in light of the increasing cost share and trying to get the money on the ground and things like that. So we do have two new grant deliverables in coming your way, and I can read those out to you real quick. So the grant deliverable number 17 in your it's listed in your admin and ops grant deliverable. It's also a grant deliverable in your cost share and TA grant. It's the exact same deliverable in each grant. So you don't have to do it twice. You do it once, you meet the deliverables for both grants. So the first is that the district must host at least one agricultural community outreach event during the year that meets the following criteria. One, the outreach event was marketed through at least 3 venues, such as a radio spot, a local news print media, like a newspaper, the local news broadcast media, like a local TV station, or social media posts, or posted some flyers around town. So those are just kind of some examples. The district or partner newsletter could be another place you could post it. Flyers at local farm stores, things like that, or you could mail postcards. Those are all just kind of a list of examples of different ways that you could market this new agricultural community outreach program. And any of those methods would be acceptable. And if you come up with another method, I'm sure we would take it too. Just run it by me. I think, any way to get the message out about the event and get as many people to the event as possible is kind of the goal there. One of the 3 marketing venues must be directed towards producers with small farms or producers considered socially disadvantaged. Now that one's a little bit harder because it takes a little bit more understanding of the community. So, and that's good. So it's going to be really different for each district how you meet that part of the deliverable, because you need to start figuring out how to reach to those communities, where the best place to reach those communities. Some of those communities might be best reached by a local farm store on a certain side of the county, or maybe through some church venues, or maybe it's social media, or maybe it's really partnering with cooperative extension or somebody to help get the messaging out. But somehow we have to, it's about the outreach, we want to make sure that the outreach is being made. So that deliverable is about putting that marketing arm out there a little bit. It's not necessarily like, we're not grading you on the results that it yields. We're not saying like, oh, how many more people did you get at your farm event this year compared to last year if you've had them before. It's not necessarily graded like that. It's more about did you put the effort in? Is really what we're looking for. So the second part of that is that the outreach event must include an introduction of the district to the community. So it should the introduction should include a history of the district, the mission statement, directors, staff, programs offered, not just agricultural programs, but what is your district doing educationally? Are you having rain barrel events as well? Like, it's an opportunity for the community to get to know the district again, or to get to know the district for the first time. So it should be more than just about your agricultural programs. So that's one of the things. So basically, that could be the first 10 minutes of the program, and then maybe you launch into something agricultural. And the event must include a discussion featuring local agriculture producers who have utilized the VAX program. So we're hoping that to get one producer, it could be a board member producer even, to kind of talk about, the ag program and the success that they've had with it would be ideal. Or even just his experience with working with the staff to get signed up and to get a conservation plan and things like that. It's very open-ended and a little bit open to interpretation on how we meet these grant deliverables. So there's lots of different ways that you can meet that deliverable. And then the last part of that deliverable is that the district notified all partners, including Virginia State University Small Farm Outreach Program, of the event, and representatives from each organization was invited to participate. So that's like an email. It's an email to your Virginia State Small Farm Outreach Program coordinator, inviting them, saying, hey, we're hosting this event on July 27th. Do you want 10 minutes on the agenda? If not, we just love it if you could attend. And then you need to put that out to kind of all of your area partners, to NRCS, to Cooperative Extension, to anybody in your territory that you have kind of worked with over the years. Again, that's more that you made the outreach. It's up to those people if they want to attend, if they want to participate on the agenda. It's that you made the effort. It's that you made that communication to them and they're aware of the event happening. And so again, it's outreach is the goal here. I'm not saying like, oh, well, SFOP decided not to attend, so you get a B on your deliverable or something. Not at all. It is totally the Small Farm Outreach Program coordinator's decision to attend or not. It's that you made that outreach. And that kind of plays right into the next deliverable is that the district notified the Small Farm Outreach Program of every outreach event that you conduct with agriculture producers. So you should do that 2 weeks prior to the event. And both the programs, the Small Farm Outreach Programs, state representative and the regional representative should be notified of the event taking place. And we do have those the contact information for those folks that we will share with districts when the grant agreements come out. We can send that contact list so you know who to contact as well. Again, that is simply like an email or something. Just CC your CDC on that email that says, hey, we're having this event in a couple of weeks. We'd love it if you could participate. And again, it's up to them whether or not they want to participate. So that one's a little bit redundant of the other part of the first grant deliverable where we ask you to reach out, but that's because we have an agreement with the DSU Small Farms programs for this cooperative outreach initiative. So it's kind of helping us meet some of our arrangements with VSU Small Farm Outreach Program as well. So that's why that one is kind of like specifically listed. But basically, if you met the first grant deliverable and the 4 conditions that went with that, you have basically met the second grant deliverable as well. So I'm sure that has opened me to lots of questions. So, but that being said, you know, I know we have Rebecca on the call today from our PCMO department. She has been working on, you know, different types of marketing materials to help you guys out. I mean, we've got some different radio spots where it's like, you know, some very generic radio spots, some very generic flyers and postcards and stuff where you could kind of like plug in your own event information and your own district information, so that you're hopefully not having to create everything from scratch if that's really not your wheelhouse. Other districts might, you know, really whip up a pretty good flyer on their own. So, but we're here to help. You know, we don't want to leave you guys in the dark with some of this outreach initiative. So, but that outreach event is really what it's all about. A number of districts are already doing producer outreach events as part of their big sign up initiative in the beginning of the program year. And those events certainly are what kind of qualifies as one of these outreach events. You just may need to reformat it and retool it a tiny little bit to include a little bit more historical background of the district, to get a farmer to kind of come in and as a testimonial, and to just expand the outreach that happens for your events already that you've been kind of historically having. And for other districts, maybe haven't had an event in a long time. So this will be something brand new, perhaps, or something you just haven't done in several years. So we'll dust off our boots a little bit and get this back out there. So questions for me, comments? I don't know if I can, let me see if I can see the chat. I'm on my mobile app. So see if I can pull up the chat box.
Blair, I'm looking at the chat and I don't see any questions so far for you, but folks might be typing.
And the deliverable is listed in the draft grant agreements that went to the State Soil and Water Board at their April board meeting. So They are public, that is publicly available on the town hall website. Or of course, I'm happy to send it to anybody as well. So,
Those materials were sent also because it went with allocation information for feedback
mhm,
districts.
that's right.
Blair, I just had a question about, you mentioned the marketing the outreach event through several mediums.
Yes.
For record of that, would we just share, a copy of a flyer, a
Yep.
snip of a whatever to our CDC? Is that how that?
Yes,
would?
that's
Okay.
exactly right.
Okay, great.
We want to make this, we're not trying to make, we want to make sure that outreach is happening, but we're not trying to micromanage everything. We certainly don't want to do that. Don't have time to do that. Wouldn't want to if we did. So yeah, just, a cutout of the newspaper, ad that you took out, or the script from a radio ad, if you did something like that, a screenshot of your social media post, just email it to your CDC.
Okay, easy. All right, great.
And that's kind of like the same with the outreach communications to partners, and especially the small farm outreach program folks. That's just CC your email on the CDC you send to your partners initially. Doesn't have to be any kind of special communication.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds very easy to accomplish. Anybody have any questions for Blair on the outreach grant deliverable from DCR? All right. Well, if you think of anything after the meeting, reach out to Blair with your questions. And thank you so much,
Feel free
Blair,
to contact me, and I'll be hanging on for the rest of the meeting too. So
awesome.
If anyone thinks of anything, just let me know.
Great. Thank you for giving that summary to everybody. Appreciate it. All right, next up, we're really excited to have Rebecca Jones from DCR joining us. Some of you may or may not know Rebecca. She's new to her role at this role at DCR, as far as I know. Rebecca has taken over the position that was held by Julie Buchanan, which many of you will remember was part of this committee for quite a while. She covered the PR and outreach for DCR, and Rebecca is now in that role. And I think is really excited to be part of this committee. And she's going to be talking about the DCR marketing toolkit, some updates that she's been working on there, and just overall give some information on ways that DCR can help and support districts with their outreach initiatives going into FY23. So Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. It's really great to be here. And yeah, I've been with DCR since March. So I'm still getting a handle on the many things that our agency does. And I love what I see. And it's great to meet all of you. And Lindy, it's great to meet you because I get your Henrikopoulos emails. So it was great to have a face to put with those this morning. I have been working on some updates to the marketing toolkit that will be on our website. I know that I'm filling very big shoes, and I've been looking at what my predecessor, Julie, created, which is amazing, and looking at her timetable for creating it. And I am shooting to have the new materials on our website, in July. And I'll keep you all posted on that. We've got some key messages this year that I wanted to run by you. But first, I wanted to say everybody on this call has done more marketing to the districts than I have. So I've done a fair amount of marketing in my career, but I'm definitely calling on you all for insights, reality check. Let me know if what I'm working on and planning is useful to you, or if I'm, the terrifying thing that a lot of people say in the marketing field is half of your marketing and PR efforts are wasted. You just never know which half. But my goal is to have a toolkit that is not wasted. Not that everybody will use 100% of it, but that there'll be something that everybody can use in there. So key messages. There are some things that we know we're going to say, even that, like so much of life is hurry up and wait. But I kind of feel like the budget and its implications for our marketing to the districts is wait, then hurry up, because we don't have a budget yet for specific numbers. But one of the things that we do know is that there is going to be more VAX funding than ever before. So we're going to have a historic funding year on top of a historic funding level previous year. We know that we're reaching out to small and underserved firms, that they're especially urged to apply this year. Another key message is that these practices protect the environment, of course, but I also want to focus on how they protect the producer's bottom line. And that, connect with your soil and water conservation district to apply. And we also have some updates to the CREP program, which provides funding for farmers to establish conservation buffers that will generate future income. So that's one of the things that we want to communicate pretty clearly. So what I'm working, one of the things that occurs to me is that since there is so much more funding likely to be available this year, and since we are particularly trying to bring small farms, underserved farms into the fold, we're trying to build the mailing list. I'm kind of thinking that we may need a little bit of a new look, that the look on a lot of our materials that I've reviewed, it has a lot of fantastic photography, but I'm wondering if the photographs, if this photo of a farm with cows on it is going to start to look like this photo, and that people who've received it before, most importantly, are going to say, oh, I've seen that before, I don't need to read it again. So enfolded in this, I'm sorry, you all, I'm long-winded, I'm going to try to be better. One of the things I was thinking is that maybe the time is right to go with illustrations and graphics instead of photography on the look of our materials. Now, there are a couple of things about that we want to be mindful of. If we're not careful, illustrations and graphics can look, for want of a better term, a little bit feminine, a little bit young, and that may not be the look that we're going for. But I do think that if we don't go with illustrations instead of photographs, or if we use illustrations plus photographs or something like that, we need to have a new look so that we're bringing in new people, but that also people that we've been communicating with for years are going to know that this is something different. So that's one of the things that I'm at work on right now, is briefs for updates to the current suite of flyers about our best management practices programs. I'm also working with the text a little bit. One of the things that we know is that readers, and I know this applies to me, it probably applies to all of you, want the most information for the least effort possible. And that means short. That means lists with numbers and bullet points and not paragraphs, or if it's a paragraph, it's a 1-sentence or 2-sentence paragraph. So I'm doing that as well, just trying to make it visually a little bit easier to read while still preserving our messages. I'm also working on a new flyer called, case in point, 7 ways conservation practices help farmers' bottom line. And I'm thinking that that piece would be kind of the introduction to the idea of conservation, because all of the flyers that we have so far address that important point that this will help you save money. So important, a message to get across to farmers, obviously. But I thought it might be good, especially for newbies, to have the different ways that different practices can help the farmer's bottom line, and maybe encourage them to apply for multiple practices. There's a little bit of research that this is so bizarre to me, but there is research out there that says, of course, that readers love lists and listicles. Odd numbers perform better than even numbers. I don't know why. 7 it seems to be like the magic number. I guess maybe it's because they think we didn't pad it with 3 not great pieces of information just to get to 10. I don't know why it is, but as it turned out, I had 7 that I wanted to highlight. And so I'm working on that. So updates to the current flyers, at least 1 new flyer. I am finished with a draft of a press release that I will put in the toolkit as soon as I can accurately update some of the specifics. This percentage is available this year, up to this amount is available this year. And my hope is that that would be something that would help busy people like all of you. I'm not young. I've done things before I did marketing. And one of the things I did was run a nonprofit arts program. And I know that running programs like you all are running is a full-time job in itself. There's not a lot of time for marketing. So my goal is to create something that helps save time. And I hope this would be something that could be a template, fill in the blank, adapt it, and send it to a local newspaper. If you know your local newspapers better than I do, although I'm looking forward to learning more, if you know that they don't really print a lot of news about VAC or about the districts, I also I have a version of this that's really like a letter to the editor. Maybe they'll print a letter to the editor from the district. I have 1, and I'm working on a second one, a script for a radio ad that could also be a public service announcement. It's a script. So, if you have a station, AM, FM, that does PSAs, they would read it. You don't. But when I used this tactic in the past, I thought, oh no, I hate my voice. Please tell me I don't have to send a voice file. No, that mercifully, that's not the way that it works. And so at least 1, probably 2 scripts for radio. And of course, social media content and new graphics based on what we were talking about before. A customizable flyer / mailer and a local print ad. Now, I know that we need a new video and highlighting a VAX or cost share success story. I have reached out to one farmer in Louisa County And but I'm interested in other suggestions. So if you in your district have a producer who has used these programs before and may have a good story to tell, I would really be interested in talking with them and using their story to produce a short video or two that we could run on our social media and website that you could run and use in any way that you choose. I'd like at least one of the producers that we highlight to be a small farmer or a woman farmer or a veteran farmer or an underrepresented minority farmer. Again, just to reinforce our message that we really are bringing everyone to the table. So those are some of the things that I'm working on right now. Can I pause here and ask if there is if anybody has any thoughts on that, or if there's anything that I just said that is like, nope, we don't have print newspapers anymore. So don't bother with the letter to the editor. Any feedback for me before I go on?
I'll just jump in really quickly. Something that came to mind when you were talking is, I know something that we've struggled a little bit at Thomas Jefferson. We're a 4-county district. Historically, our bread and butter of our ag program, so to speak, has been cattle farmers, large and small cattle farmer owned by men, primarily men farmers. Okay. And I have seen in the outreach work that I've done with our district, a little bit of shift. We're in Albemarle County, so Charlottesville, it's a big kind of foodie hub. We're seeing a lot more, like you said, small farmers, diversified farmers. So farmers that are doing chicken tractors, and they're doing goats, and they're doing turkeys, and they're doing vegetables. They're doing a real mixed bag because they sell at the farmers markets, or they've got CSAs and things like that. So I try to push our outreach to include those folks in our outreach. And I'm not always successful because, like I said, historically, our bread and butter has been male cattle farmers. And yes, that's been our audience historically, but we've done a significant amount of work in our district. And I feel personally that we've reached many of them, not all of them. I know that there's some of those cattle farmers we have not touched yet, and I don't think we should ignore them. But I do see, like you said, there's another audience out there, this younger farmer, women farmers, minority farmers who are doing different things. They're not just raising cattle. They're not just cutting hay. Like I said, they're doing vegetables, they're doing chickens, they're doing this, they're doing that. So I really like your idea of showing a little bit of a different audience in some of our graphics. I mean, in our district, our photograph library is primarily cattle and stream exclusion fencing and tree plantings. And I'm constantly urging our staff, please, when you go out to a farm and there's horses, take pictures of horses. We are in Albemarle County. It's one of the top counties for horse farm owners in the entire state of Virginia. I know our program hasn't always been favorable to the horse industry, but as you all know, some practices have been added over the last few years to try to draw in the horse community and horse owners into doing some of these practices. So I think marketing to the horse industry is smart. I think the folks that are on the call that are in Northern Virginia can speak to the horse industry up there too, just like we have here in Albemarle County. So I'm all in favor of some different photographs and some different graphics to a different audience. And I'll just add to that, I think also that what we're seeing here in Central Virginia for farmers might not be the same as it is over in the Valley, where they have a lot of poultry producers, or down in Southwest Virginia, where they do something that we don't do, or out on the Eastern Shore, where they're really into cover crops and they don't really do stream exclusion. So I think having a variety for everyone to pick from, we're such a large state, and we're we've got these different little niches everywhere where one thing's popular here and might not be popular in another area. So I think having as much variety as you can possibly put together, so that folks in the different areas can pull what they think their audience is going to respond to.
Mhm.
You know, if maybe graphics aren't really going to work for the folks way down in Southwest Virginia, then they've got some beautiful photographs to work with. But maybe up in Nova, you know, they think that the graphics are going to catch a more younger audience. So
Mhm.
I think variety is always the best, and let the districts who know their farmers the best pick those things. So that's just what I would add, my 2 cents from where we are at Thomas Jefferson.
That is really helpful. And I'm sure you heard me typing because I was trying to
Yeah.
capture everything in my notes. And yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here. Okay, so I'm not going to promise this, but it almost sounds like something that could be helpful, a couple of strategies that could be helpful. Instead of trying to produce one thing that works for the crop farmers on the Eastern Shore and the cattle farmers in Southwest Virginia, that maybe we have different graphics that could be used by themselves by the districts and put at the top of the communicate. You know, they're in the toolkit PDF, you take it, you put it in the material from us that you're customizing. And tell me if you think, again, I'm just thinking out loud. We do, you know, a lot with Flickr, like a lot of marketing shops do. Would a kind of shared Flickr library that all of us could use of, you know, here's a nice juicy picture of a cover crop or something. Would
Yeah.
that?
I think that's a great idea. And it's something this committee we've talked here and there about trying to put something like that together. I know when the association does the photo contest every year, we've put those photographs in a shared folder on the association's website to say, hey, here's some beautiful photographs that anybody can use. But I would love the idea of a library of the best. And I know, TJ, we'd be willing to contribute photos if we have them. And I know other districts would be happy to share their best of the best as well. I can't tell you how many hours I have spent trying to find the right picture for something, you know, of good stream exclusion or a mature tree planting or whatever. You can spend hours going through your photographs only to come up with something you're not really that excited about. So if we could cut down that work and have an organized library, I think other staff would find that helpful. Does anybody have any thoughts on that or anything else that Rebecca brought up? Look in the chat here.
Oh yeah, the chat. Oh no, I don't see anything.
Not seeing anything in the chat.
Yeah, I've spent those hours too, Lisa, just desperately searching, you know, for one photo that says small farm. And especially since we're all in this room marketing to our discrete districts, it doesn't really matter if Thomas Jefferson uses the same photo that Henrico uses.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I can't see why we couldn't share photographs, you know, maybe not having the Blue Ridge Mountains in the back would be applicable to the folks down on the Eastern Shore, but you know, we could try to have a variety of things so it, you know, it looks like your area. I think that's a fantastic idea, and I know other districts would take advantage of that. I think that'd be great.
Thank you. This is, as we say, this is why we talk.
Yeah. I know when we did the registration for this meeting, we had asked the question, what marketing topics, district marketing needs, trainings, and other topics do you want to discuss? And some folks put in some things that I think would be helpful for Rebecca to know, and I've shared the answers with Rebecca, but I know something, I think it was Bill Fleming put on here about having a PowerPoint presentation for VCAP and Ag BMPs. And I believe, if I remember correctly, that's something Bill had suggested to Julie when Julie was part of our committee, and Julie had thought that would be a good idea. So Rebecca, I don't know if Bill is on the call, but oh, Bill is here.
Yeah, I saw Bill's name. Hey,
Yeah.
Bill.
Bill said in the chat, in each district, there are landowners and operators. How many contacts does each soil water district have in the database? What percentage of the total? Any information on farm size, type, etc. They are great customers. Bill, do you want to, are you able to, do you have a microphone? Do you want to just talk about your question?
Hi, you can hear
Hey,
me?
Bill. Yep, we can hear you. Hey, Bill.
This has come up a couple of times at Virginia Dare. I've asked the question in Virginia Beach, but also there's currently an emphasis for small farms and disadvantaged farms, but seems to me that there should be a contact databases for all of them. I looked up a USDA survey from about 4 years ago that had a list of the farm owners and operators and breakdown of the sizes of the farms and the profitability in each district. This was in Virginia Beach or Chesapeake. And I asked how many people are in the mailing list or potential mailing lists, and I didn't really get a great answer. And the impression I get is that it's very hard to get that information from USDA. I'd asked somebody with NRCS and they said that's privileged information. You don't have a need to know. And that seems like it's counterproductive. So I would think that would be something that districts ought to be accumulating as a set of databases of names and contact information, including Facebook pages and I don't know, even TikTok if they have them, although I keep away from stuff like that. And that having that information would be very useful as far as marketing and making sure that they're on the list. I know I probably have to delete 50 to 100 emails from people that have my contact information and I don't know where they got it. But in this case, it's something that the districts, I would think, ought to know, and the USDA ought to help the state accumulate that information. That was just my thought right now. But I think as far as the PowerPoint, there are groups within, say, Virginia Beach that don't know what soil and water does or what the ag or the VCAP programs are. And the directors don't seem to be interested, most of them, in doing any outreach themselves. But I had told somebody with I think it was an NAACP group that I would try to get the information and present to minority groups like his. And I still don't have anything. And I get the impression that any presentation would need to be blessed or ordained by the district before anybody should go out and pitch it. That's it.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. I'll echo Bill's request for a PowerPoint presentation on VCAP and Ag BMPs. I guess, Rebecca, if that's something that DCR I think could put together at some point. I know I mentioned it to our leadership at our district and they said, oh my gosh, we would love to have that. They have to present to our board of supervisors every year. And as I imagine a lot of districts do. And I feel like we're probably all kind of reinventing the wheel. If we could kind of have a standard PowerPoint that we could, tweak and add things to, but just a general outline of a PowerPoint with some great pictures and some bullet points on the programs, that would probably save save people a lot of time putting together an entire PowerPoint. So like I said, I know
Yeah,
Bill.
hey,
has suggested that
Lisa,
before. Mhm.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry. This is Blair. I like the idea of a pretty generic
Yeah.
PowerPoint that would be kind of like introductory to the cost share program or something.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
something that we could easily put together, and then districts can add slides if they want to add slides about like specific BMPs that are more common in their area. I know we as DCR staff have like farmer outreach programs, farmer sign up programs that districts have done over the years, and we've highlighted some very popular practices in that particular territory. So every PowerPoint we've done has been like very customized to that audience, but something very generic that kind of talks about like, you know, we have some livestock practices. Here's kind of like a summary or outline or overview of some agronomic practices without being like, here's an SL6W
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of the spec changes that, you know.
Yeah. All that
And if the
technical
district wanted
lingo.
to go, yeah, without all of that, it could be very generic and like more, you know, more of like a summary type PowerPoint. I think that's something Rebecca and I could work on, especially with our new Ag BNP program manager, Sarah Bottenfield. We could pull her in on that as well. I
Awesome.
think that's something that we could put together
That'd be
fairly, you
great.
know, without too much angst. As far as VCAP goes, of course, though, you know, VCAP is an association program. So we would obviously need to lean on the association and Blair Blanchette to kind of put that together, because we don't have like that VCAP infant.
Mhm.
It's something that, you know, we could certainly provide some assistance on, perhaps, if Blair, you know, when Blair has questions, or if we want to have some sort of like common formatting or something, we could work together on it. But ultimately, I think the association, the DCAP program, would take the lead on that.
Lisa Hyatt also, you're with Thomas Jefferson, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, they have a program with, I guess it's the city of Charlotte, and there's somebody up north in Arlington or Fairfax or something that has a program similar. In Virginia Beach, there's now something called a VB cap, which is just getting on the ground, and they are available as well. So it would be nice to be able to, in those cases, add on to that as well. But I've talked enough, so I'll shut up. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. Kendall jumped in. Kendall, do you want to jump into this conversation about
I think
VCAP?
we can help you with VCAP, but we've provided a training this morning on urban ag efforts, and some of the slides that we use there were just an introduction to what VCAP is, and we've provided them to many folks. But what we've often done is, like Blair Gordon said, when we've given them to the district, we've asked them to ensure it is modified to meet whatever the district's needs are. If you're doing your own local program, or your caps are different, or outreach particulars that might be needed, so that it fits more of the local feel. So certainly we have some of those developed. We've shared with district staff and can pull that out again if there are some needs across the state for something more generic. But again, always making sure you tailor it to the locality in your district.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. Thank you. Thank you, Kendall. That sounds like an easy thing that we can facilitate putting together for districts to use. And like I said, I know at our district, those would be welcome things for us to use for outreach. So I just want to, we're at 2:14. So I know folks have other things to get to today, but I do want to just kind of segue from Rebecca's conversation about the marketing toolkit into our marketing, what we call our marketing just roundtable, and just a really, open conversation. If anybody has new outreach initiatives that you're happening at your district for FY23, or you've got specific questions for Rebecca or for Blair or for Kendall or for myself, are there things that your district is struggling with that you need support, you need a template for, anything like that? I just want to open up the floor for that and talk about, I know we're all thinking about all that VAX cost share that's coming our way, and other programs as well, and wondering how the heck we're going to get that on the ground. So I want to just open the floor up to any ideas that you all are having to share with the group.
Lisa, I actually have a question.
Sure.
So in a previous marketing committee meeting, you had spoken briefly about using Hootsuite.
Yeah. Mhm.
We have been looking into trying to increase our social media presence.
Yeah.
And I was just curious, has anybody used anything other than Hootsuite? Do any other districts use this kind of social media scheduler? And have you had a lot of success with it?
Awesome. Thanks, Kelly. I'll just jump in with our, we have Hootsuite. We use the free service. So we get to plan out, I think it's 5 posts at a time. So I was actually just on there this morning, putting out a post for next week. And so what it does is opens up a calendar, you create your post and you can schedule it to run for X amount of days on different, different times, different days of the weeks, on all your social media platforms. And I found it personally really helpful just to spend, 30 minutes, sit down, plan out the post and not have to remember every week to go through and put on posts, they're already out there. We've been posting, we have got 2 job openings. So we've been scheduling the posts for our job openings at key times. We've also started to use the boost for posts on Facebook. And we found that's been very helpful. So our experience at TJ has been really good with Hootsuite. I'd recommend folks try it at least, to try the free service at least and see if it will work for you. Ashley, you had your hand up? You want to chime in about Hootsuite?
Yeah, our office used Hootsuite for a while, but then when they implemented the 5 post limit, it kind of ruined it for us. It's just 5 posts was really not enough. But conveniently at the same time, yeah, I see Lizzie Hamilton just said it. Facebook now has the option to schedule your posts there.
That's
so you can
awesome.
do it right from Facebook.
That's
and
great.
you can
is
schedule
that free?
them.
That's free through Facebook. You don't have to pay for that or anything like that.
No, and as far as I know, it's unlimited and you can schedule out 75 days.
Wow.
Great.
That's
You can
awesome.
also do it because Facebook and Instagram are the same hub. You can cross post everything. It's the same for Hootsuite, but it's basically just, if you're going to send something to Facebook and you have an Instagram, you should also have it go there too.
Yeah.
It won't connect outside of that service. It won't post on Twitter. It won't post on TikTok or anything like that. But for us, Facebook and Instagram have been pretty popular. And it'll just allow us to get stuff in advance. I will say scheduling in advance is super helpful. Like we have a spring and fall intern. And so when I have those interns and they have any downtime, I always have them generating content about like an invasive plant that's starting to bloom now. So you can find it and get rid of it, or something like that. And they can do those in like the winter even. So that way they're ready to go out when we need them, but we don't actually have to take time out of our busy spring.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I noticed too recently that Canva has a scheduler as part of it's one of its new releases. I honestly I haven't looked at it and I haven't played around with it, but it was something that popped up on the platform the other day when I was working in there and I thought, ooh, that could be fun and interesting. And if you could just do it right from Canva and not have to, download your graphic and then upload it to Facebook or whatever, that might be a time saver as well. I don't know if anyone's had any experience with that, but that's something I noticed the other day too.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Something I just mentioned, we were talking about Hootsuite is doing the boosted posts on social media. We, like I said, we have 2 job openings that we're promoting right now. So we experimented with boosting a post just for 7 days. I think it was $14. And we could sort of, pick our audience that we wanted to boost it to. And the engagement with those posts, now granted, they were job postings, so those are a little more exciting than some of our other posts. But it quadrupled the amount of engagements that we would normally get on a post. Usually we get, maybe 100 if we're lucky, and we were getting several hundred. We were getting people clicking on the links. We were getting people sharing it. So, for a small amount of money investment, the boost, I think, paid off. And I think it's something that we may consider trying out and experimenting to boost maybe some posts about our VAX program or some other programmatic things as we go along. That's something we've never tried before, but I think for not a lot of money, it might be worth experimenting with. I don't know if anyone else has had any luck with boosting of posts or anything like that, but just thought I would share that. Does anybody else have any outreach initiatives that they want to share or questions for the group? Anything you're struggling with going into FY23 that you feel like you need support or help with from this committee or any of our partners that are on the call? All right, well, I think we've covered quite a bit of information. I really appreciate everybody getting on this call with us and sharing ideas. I'm really excited to see the new DCR Toolkit initiative. Thank you, Rebecca, for working so hard on that and breathing some new life into the outreach there. I look forward to looking at what you're going to create. And thank you, Blair, for going over the grant deliverables, and Kendall and Shannon for joining us, and all the new folks that joined us on the call. I hope you'll continue to join us for Marketing Committee. For those that don't know, Marketing Committee typically meets once a quarter. And we try to share those meeting announcements with the all district. But if you would specifically like to be on the Marketing Committee email list, so you're sure to get those meeting notifications right to your inbox, feel free to email myself or Kendall or Shannon and let us know that you want to be on the email list, and we'll be sure to add you. And I really hope that you all can continue to join us. It's nice to have a nice big group and share ideas. And just one more plug for the marketing chair position. If you have any questions about that, please reach out. My email is in the chat. And with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn our meeting. Thank you all so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you, Lisa.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again, Lisa. Let's talk soon. Good luck moving.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Kendall. Bye, guys.
Lisa, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure, yeah.
And doesn't matter if anybody else hears it either. I heard an inkling, and maybe I misunderstood. Is there a marketing committee newsletter? And if so, can I get some content in it?
There is.
You want to be the marketing committee newsletter?
That sounds like a great idea. I like that. Do you want to do it? There is not such a thing, but I like that idea.
Okay. It's something, yeah, I didn't know if there were one. It is, I would need to, before I commit, I do need to talk to our director of marketing and communications, because I'm detailed to multiple divisions at DCR. But one advantage of a newsletter is that obviously it keeps us thinking about marketing periodically while, we're heads down in a million other things. And another thing, just the immediacy, like if somebody has a tip or a trick that really worked, we don't have to wait until the next quarterly meeting.
I totally agree. And that's something that just in the last few months, I had been kind of mulling that over in my head, thinking, it might be a good thing if like once a month we send out, even just an email, just a marketing email, like, hey, do you remember that there's the association's marketing toolkit. There's the DCR marketing toolkit. Here's that link to that training we just did. Yeah. So like you said, to keep it fresh in everyone's head, or, hey, here's this cool blog post that we're all reading that we think you would enjoy about making videos. So I love that idea. That's something I wish I had had more time to get off the ground, and with me leaving and doing other things, I won't have that, but I would love to see the next, someone do that. So the marketing things really keep in front of people, and also that we're constantly having new staff get hired across the state, and they might not even know that the marketing committee even exists. They're not even sure, but something like that might come across their desk, and then they might want to be engaged in the committee, and then they're aware of that these tools even exist too. So I love that idea, and I hope that that's something that this committee could put together in some format. I think that'd be awesome.
Okay, well, maybe we can just let that idea hang in the air
Yeah.
and bring it up. I'm so sorry you're leaving, Lisa. I'm glad we got to cross paths at least briefly.
Yeah. I'm gonna still stay engaged with the committee. I'm working for Thomas Jefferson until the end of December.
Yeah.
But obviously transitioning out of the chair, but I'm definitely want to still stay engaged with the committee and be able to chime in and hear new ideas and things like that. So I'll still be around, but yeah, it's a little bittersweet. I've really enjoyed working with this committee. It's a lot of fun.
And a great mission.
Yeah, for sure.
Been great people. You could ask for more.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well,
Good
thank
idea. We're gonna figure it
you.
out.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
See
guys.
you
you
all
soon.
soon.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.